Good afternoon. Welcome back to Frozen Prairie Scouting. We're here today to discuss the 2027 draft class. This one's looking to be really strong, but lots of things can change throughout the year. As we saw with 2026, we all thought early in the year was going to be a really, really strong class. Although I think we'll still see a lot of NHLers out of it. I don't think there will be as many stars that we thought early on, but I mean, every year brings its own differences and challenges, right? Like this was the first year where we saw um, prospects playing from the CHL to the NCAA. Next year, I think will be a little bit different, and then I think we're going to start seeing in the next, let's say, 2, 3 years, kind of things start to level out a little bit as um, all the leagues kind of find their groove, kind of shifts and everything. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. With 2027 coming along, I wanted to kind of take a quick look at my first top 15, and I haven't watched a ton of these guys. I've seen some video clips. Some of them I've watched throughout the year a little bit more. Some I've watched from a younger age. But I just wanted to kind of let's get a couple lists going. Let's get started, and we can kind of flow it out as we see fit here. Um, so let's take a quick peek here. Number one, obviously landed DuPont, playing in Everett this past 2 years. Obviously exceptional status player. Going to University of Michigan. This guy is just dynamic. Cerebral, skilled. I see him head and shoulders above this class. He does everything you want in a defenseman. I think he just hit 6 foot. I think we're going to see a player take over the NCAA on defense this year in a draft year. It's going to be pretty crazy. And I see more like a Cale McCarr type at the next level. I think he'll probably step in the NHL right away, kind of like McKinnon's doing this next year. So that's the Lada DuPont, obviously number one, and it'll be his own tier. Next, I have Alexis Joseph. Great size, really good feet. I think he still needs to add some speed though. Like when I say feet, like I think he shifts well, but I think he can still get to another level. I mean, he's still young, filling into everything. He dominates a lot of the aspects of the game, especially using his hockey IQ. 6'5" centermen are really hard to come by, and he does a lot of things, skill-wise, movement-wise, that guys that size really shouldn't be able to do. As we're seeing now, the further we go into hockey, and you see it in, I guess, basketball too, like the 7-footers being able to take the outside shots and stuff like that. We're seeing these big centermen, big players being able to be a lot more skilled than we did back in the day. I compare Alexis Joseph right now a lot to Evgeny Malkin in the games I've seen. That's not saying he's going to be that, but I just see a lot of comparables in their games. Next, we have that Nazar Privilov, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen a ton of him. I've watched some clips here and there. Big centerman. I think he's 6'4". He's got really good hands, scores a lot, but that MHL is hard to. I'd like to see him do it in the K next year. He does have a cannon of a wrister. Big, heavy. He does play more physical than a lot of guys. There's a lot to like about his game. And he's a centerman. I think we're getting a really good centerman this year at the top of the class coming up here, and guys that are going to be centermen at the next level. But Nazar Privilov, from what I've seen, and I'm also kind of listening to some people that I trust on this one, he's going to, right now it looks like he'll be a top 3 pick. I think there could be a lot of changes. Like he's got a lot of size. There were some things I didn't love when I was watching some of his clips, but there's some things you're like, okay, there's a player here. But when I say like, I think he really needs to work on his skating. think that's a big thing for him to get to the next level. And I think he needs. I haven't really seen him in person or anything, but just based on like the view, he needs to put the weight into muscle, I think, a little bit too. Next, one of my favorite kids coming into this draft class right here. I've watched quite a bit of him growing up. Brock Englund. Speed and skill. Right now he plays as a center, but I think he'll end up being a winger at the next level. He has a really nice shot, good manipulation on it. I know this is going to sound funny, but he's got hands that can keep up with his feet. He's got that kind of skill where he can do things at a speed with his hands that a lot of people would have to maybe slow down to do. And it's something that comes, he just can do it. And a lot of players can't. You'll see them have to, when they want to make a move, kind of have to slow down a little bit. Whereas Brock Englund can do things at a high speed with his hands. But yeah, this kid uses speed and skill and vision around the ice. I really like him, and I think he's going to end up being a top player in this class next year. Next, we have Carter Mayer. I have him at the NCDP. I think he's going to end up in Quebec playing for the Remparts, which I think will be really good for him. This is one of more of a pro-style centerman, a guy that's in the right spots all over the ice. He has a lot of speed and skill that he displays. Really took over at the higher level this year when he came up. He uses his body and speed to create a lot of opportunities. So that's when I talk about puck protection at high levels of speed. He can drive the net using that. High motor, doesn't stop all over the ice. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do in the Quebec Maritime League next year if he does end up there. He's going to have to put up a ton of points though, because the Q, you really have to produce at a high level to be able to get picked really high. So I have Milan Sundstrom next. High offensive IQ, skill to match. He will be a centerman at the next level. Goal a game as a 16-year-old in U20 is quite impressive in the Swedish league. This kid does look like he might be able to push Alexei Joseph and Nazar Privalov for number 2. And I think any of these guys in the top 6 could kind of be anywhere in that 2-3 spot personally when I look at this class. Brock Cripps, point a game in the WHL playoffs as a 16-year-old on a really good team in Prince Albert. This kid sees the ice so well. He's got skills to make plays with the way he sees the ice. This is a kid that took over the PA power play with the 4th overall pick from this year there, Daxton Rudolph. Rudolph was playing the half wall. He's got a lot of offense. Yes, he's not over 6 foot. Hopefully he can maybe grow a little bit, but this is a kid I really like coming in next year. He skates incredibly well. Got a lot of offense there. Obviously young guy, still got to clean up his own zone, but this is a kid that is going to be a player next year, and he's really going to push in this draft to be a top 10 pick, I think. Next, we have Jonah Neuenschwander, Belbien, NLA, Swiss prospect. Another one of those pro-style centermen. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the elite hockey IQ and vision. This is a kid will be a centerman at the next level. He's already doing it well in the NL as one. Played 2 World Juniors already, and it's 16. He'll be going into his 3rd as a draft eligible next year for the Swiss team. This is a kid I can see being a really good addition to a team in the NHL. I don't see a first-line center, but I see a guy that can be a really strong number 2 center in the NHL. he's going to break out this year in the NL. A kid that I'm really, really looking forward to watching more of him this year, and really keying in on him at the World Juniors coming up. Next, we got Sammy Nelson going to Notre Dame. Two-way center, good size, 6'2", 192. Oh my gosh, he's got a strong IQ, battles hard along the ice. He plays with a pace and a physicality that will translate well. And then another guy that one of my favorite coming out of here is Dima Zilkin out of Saginaw. Guy's just dog out there. Fearless, gets to the net. I see him as a top six forward that players will love playing with. He got 75 points and 100 PIMs. That's my kind of player. And he plays at a high pace that just annoys everyone out there. And I love it with a good skill set. Next, we got the other Russian player there in Sergei Skvortsov. He plays a very complete game. Really good details around the ice. I bring him down the board. I know a lot of people are a little bit higher on him, but I try and factor in the Russian factor with some of these guys sometimes. And the MHL really isn't as strong as people seem to think. This is, I'm not a political guy, but this is where you kind of wish we could see some of these guys playing in the international stage with the Canadas and the US's to compete against each other and compare a bit more. I like Sergey. He makes a lot of good plays in the games I've watched of him. But I need to see a little bit more here. But top 15 already early, can't complain. Next, we have another guy that I really like in Boston Tate. I've watched a bit of him growing up as well. I see him as a very solid defenseman, two-way game, good outlets. He's got some offense. I think we're going to see some more offense come out of him next year. He's got a bit of a mean streak as well, which I like. He's a good Sasky boy. Although the fights I have watched, he definitely could work a little bit on it. But a guy that's a willing combatant, which shows me leadership as well. You don't see a lot of guys that are out there willing to drop those gloves, especially as a 16-year-old nowadays. Back when I was younger, 16-year-olds just loved fighting. This is a kid that makes a lot of good outlet plays, a lot of good first passes, joins the rush, skates pretty well. He's got a good size, uses his stick well, and I think he's going to take a really big step with the Nachi next year. And I'm really looking forward to watching more of him as he comes out throughout the West. Next at 13, I have Noah Davidson. I can see him being further up the board as the draft comes. This is a good big kid, solid skater, manages the puck really well too, drives the net, creates chances like that, has a good shot. At points this season, he took over games and he's got the Ruck twins there and everything like that. This is a kid that's going to be a really, really strong player, and the Ruck twins are coming back. Medicine Hat's going to be a force in the WHL next year, and Noah Davidson's going to be a big, big part of that. And then we got Jackson Jacobson. Little bit smaller, but man, this kid can play. Prototypical, skilled playmaker. He had 60 assists this season in his second year. Yes, he's a late birthday, so he's 2027 eligible. Kid's got great vision. He's got a motor to get pucks back. Kind of like that Stankoven, Jarvis style. Not big, but he uses his speed, skill, and body positioning with puck protection to create opportunities. He'll steal a puck and he'll shift his body a little bit to kind of create that little bit of separation to get his hands free. Just little things that bigger players don't do as well. And if they did, it would be a lot better. But there's just little things I see with this guy that, he can manipulate his body, creates opportunities. He knows where the defenseman is behind him to be able to make that pass or shot or make a play on the goaltender. Uses it to win battles. There's a lot of really, really good things he does. And obviously will benefit from the Stankovens, Jarvises, these smaller guys that have been very successful in the NHL out of the Western League. And obviously a little bit of a harder league to play in regards to, battles, harder to play against people, travel, all those kinds of little things. Like, definitely will get him ready for the next level. And then at number 15, I have Ben Harvey. I know a lot of people probably haven't watched a ton of him out of Prince Albert there. Was really strong as a 16-year-old on a team that was really good in Prince Albert this year. I think they grabbed Cripps, Harvey, and Ty Bunye in the same draft in the first round. No, Cripps and Harvey were in the same draft, pretty tight together in the WHL draft. This kid has a ton of skill. He makes the players around him a lot better. He's got vision that'll makes wow plays. Um, and his numbers weren't as strong as you'd think for a 16-year-old, but you got to remember he was playing behind the likes of like Coots and some really, really good players and Sigurdsson, things like that. Like, he didn't get as much ice time as a 16-year-old as you probably would have liked to have seen. But in the games I've watched of him, especially in the playoffs, like, he just does a lot of things right, which excites me going into next year. Like, he plays very cerebrally, makes plays in the O-zone by like manipulating his skates and his stick to make a pass or a shot to create those lanes. Like, he's one of those guys that can create his own lanes. He can drive a bit of a line, I think. 27 points, 45 games. Just on a really, really good team there in Prince Albert. And I mean, kept himself in the lineup for the whole playoffs as well at 19 games. This is a kid that I think is going to take a huge step next year, and I think he's going to be really high on a lot of teams' draft boards. Really excited to see him play next year. So this is my top 15 that I have going into next year. But I also want to go over some guys that I have who I'm going to be watching next year. I'm just going to pull them all up and I'll talk about them as a whole. Okay, so right now I only have the WHL, QMJHL, and OHL that I'm going to talk about here. So among the WHL, I have Schaefer Gordon Carroll, another kid that I think I almost put into my top 15, but I really like Ben Harvey, and I think a lot of scouts are going to like him as well. This kid's got solid speed, nice hands. He's going to be among the WHL leaders in points this season. I'm calling it now. Aiden Bouchard, obviously coming into his 17-year-old year here, into his draft year, his second year in the WHL. I have him as a breakout candidate. I love his skating and two-way ability. Eli McCamey, I think he's off to North Dakota. I wish he was going back to Victoria. He just didn't have as strong of a year as I would have liked him to, as a 16-year-old and a kid who came out of the BCHL the year before as an underager, exceptional status in the BCHL. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes back. If we hear kind of last minute that he's going to go back, but if he goes to North Dakota, his game will translate well. He's a very, very cerebral guy, lot of skill, and I think he could do really well in the NCAA. But I would love him to be the guy in Victoria this next year. I think he's all healed up, ready to go. Ozzie McIntyre, solid game. I've watched a lot of him, lots of offense there. And I'm really excited to see what he'll do with more ice time as well. He's got a bit of grit as well. Plays well, and I think he's got a kind of that pro next level in him. Prab Bethal, ton of pedigree from a young age. I think this is a guy who had like 89 goals in U15. He's got good size. He skates well. There's a lot of offensive upside heading into next year in Brandon for him. OHL, we had Caden McGregor, tougher rookie season. He was the first overall pick. He has the pedigree and a ton of offensive ability. I'm excited to watch a little bit more of him. I've only seen some clips and some stuff from when he was younger, but he's on my list of a guy to watch. Jaco Wysick, right-handed center, lots of pure skill and playmaking ability. He actually had the third most points on Guelph this year, and I think we're going to see a different level to him now that Guelph is picking up some guys as the Mem Cup hosts. That's when you start to see when a guy's cerebral at such a high level. If the other guys don't think at the same rate that they do, it almost makes them look worse. But when skilled cerebral players are playing with other skilled cerebral players, that's when you start to see some of these point totals shoot up. And I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing that next year out of him. Then we have Brock Shitteroni. This kid's lots of speed. He was a high OHL pick. I think he might be one of the best skaters in this class in 2027, like obviously behind the DuPonts and stuff, but this kid is quick, and he creates a lot of opportunities with that. Then we got a couple of defenders at the end of this. Matthew Henderson, strong, poised, two-way defender, strong skater, moves puck north, not afraid of kind of the rough stuff either. And then Caden O'Coin, obviously son of former NHL Adrian O'Coin. This kid finishes every check. He makes some really nice passes, skates well. I really liked watching some of his stuff at the under-17s last year, but this kid enjoys the rough stuff, and I think he's going to be one of those forces in the OHL next year. Players aren't going to want to play against him. Like, anytime the puck goes into his corner, if a player comes in, he finishes every check, and he finishes it hard. And then we go to the queue here. James Scantlebury coming in next year. Good year with Chicago Steel last year as a rookie. Excited to kind of see what he brings to Quebec. I think Quebec's going to be the team to beat next year. This kid's got a high motor, and he obviously was a high Q pick. So I'm glad he's going in, playing in the Q next year. Then we got Loic Gerapi. He really got better as the Q season progressed. But he was playing behind some talented players in Victoriaville, right, with those high picks and Sheloff. I think it was Sheloff and a couple other guys there. So I'm excited to see now that hopefully he gets to take this step here and be one of the go-to guys in Victoriaville. He is a centerman, so I'm excited to kind of see what he's got. I got Cameron Manila, and I want you guys to remember these are guys I'm going to be keying in on. It doesn't mean I think they're going to be a first-round pick or a high pick. These are guys that I think might be worth it to watch early in the year and see where they're at. This guy skates really well. He got it to 64 games last year. There is an offensive ability to this player, and I'm hoping that he gets that opportunity this year to really show it off. And then we got Liam Arsenault. He's got 2 seasons down in the queue. He's a physical player. He's going to be a huge piece of the regiment next year. This guy just is kind of that guy that finishes all his checks, potential future third, fourth line guy in pro hockey. I don't see him being like a first, maybe second round pick. I see him being like one of those third or fourth rounders. But he's got 6'4", 204 pounds. He's got a pro style player. That's a different guy. Sorry. But this is a guy that's he's 5'11", sorry. And I'm excited to kind of see what he's able to do. And then we got Sam Pandolfo. No guarantee that he's going to Quebec next year. This is a guy that's 6'4", 204 pounds. He's got a pro style. He's a BU commit, obviously going to play for his dad. He's a left winger. Feels like everyone's leaving the NCDP, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does. In 2025, he was a 4th round pick for the Quebec Remparts. So we're going to see kind of where he ends up, but I'm looking forward to checking it out. So this is a really early look at the 2027 class. Obviously my early top 15, but also some players to watch going into next season in the CHL. I haven't really looked at what's going on with the USHL or exactly all the guys that are available in the NCAA, but I think this is it's going to be a fun class going into next year. Lots of good players. So, all right, you guys have a great week, and thanks for listening.